Previously on Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze.
I get fucking twisted up over this one. The WWE hates wrestling. Okay? They use its trappings to sell a product that is similar to wrestling, but what they do is they sell you a brand. They're not selling you the wrestlers. They're selling you themselves, and they're using the wrestlers to do it. I've said it before. They don't want you to go and cheer for your favorite tag team or wrestler or whatever. They want you to cheer for the company.
Yeah.
It would be just like every time you go to see the A's play, you cheer for the MLB.
All these guys are, in their own rights, they call them superstars nowadays. They're professional wrestlers. They're professional fucking athletes, and you should be able to cheer for your favorite fucking tag team, your favorite babyface, your fucking favorite heel, your fucking favorite wrestler, not the fucking goddamn company.
That's the thing. It's like the guys we're talking about right now, greatest regional heels. You know what they did? They went from territory to territory. They get stale somewhere. They go to another one. And you know what they did? They got people's asses in the seats.
Every 18 inches apart, someone better be sitting there to make money. And they put asses in those fucking seats every 18 inches apart.
Yep. And then when they'd slow down, they'd go somewhere else and they'd ramp up their shit and do it again. Nowadays, it's the same people in the same company over and over and over, and I'm looking at it right now on my Twitter, okay? Last time ever, The Undertaker versus Triple H. I couldn't give a shit if you stuffed that match up my ass. You know?
And now the exciting conclusion.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Bell to Bell with Bobby Blaze. I am your host, Professor Jeremy Vilmur. And joining us now, not fucking Jock Sampson and his tiny goddamn t-shirts, Arn Anderson's favorite enhancement talent, Double B, Bobby Blaze.
Hell, I don't know. See the promoter. I got a damn car in my eye, Jeremy.
You got a car in your eye, like what, like a Lincoln?
No, more like a Cadillac.
Like a Cadillac? Fuck.
The doctor said I had a Cadillac in my eye.
I think you might have heard him wrong, Bobby. I think you might have heard him wrong. Well, anyhow, I know you've been having problems with your eyes. What they say for you, like start smoking pot, or what do you got going?
No, it's not glaucoma, but they said you got a Cadillac in your eye.
I'll be damned. So what do? Call a repo man?
No, sign me up for some surgery. Got to do surgery for it.
I was gonna say now that
left eye, right eye.
I was gonna say now that Barry Darso's not around, I don't know who you call.
Right. Well, I'm calling. I guess they're setting me up for surgery January 7th and the 21st. Left eye first, right eye second.
It's not Dr. Frankenstein, is it?
No, I hope not. It might be Dr. Love.
I just spit tea on my monitor.
You've made me spit a time or two on that show. Hey, before we get started, man, yes, a Cadillac.
I don't think you heard him right. But you know what? Let's move on.
Okay. You mentioned Jock Sampson.
Yeah.
I personally want to say, on behalf of the Bell to Bell Bobby Blaze podcast, Jock, you come on here and talk some good shit, man. Really enjoyed having you on the program. Got some people really heated up and got a few downloads. So maybe there's some of your coal mining fans, as you called them. I don't know if he has insulted them or not, though, really, Jeremy. I really don't.
I was having a little trouble. I was having a little trouble figuring it out, you know.
Yeah, I think he's trying to get heat in his own fans. But anyway, it was good to have him on the show, and he called out a few people, and I see him responding on social media and stuff, and that's good for business, you know.
Yeah.
That's what you got to do nowadays. Stir up business any way you can. And that said, StarrCade was this weekend down in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, and I would dare say everyone that went had a good time, man. I had to double check. It's actually been 4 years since I'd been down there. It wasn't 3. That year of COVID, man, it's knocked everyone out a year. Like, it was just a couple years ago, you know.
Yeah.
But it was actually 4. I did double check because I had some people send me some photos from when I was actually there. But I hope everyone that got to go had a good time. So I know what a good experience it is. And I'm hoping to get down there next year myself to make an appearance. Work on that right now, just in the background. Behind the scenes, kind of, trying to work out a little deal. But they do a first-class operation down there in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. And that's StarrCade. And that's all the notes I had, because I wanted to point out that you, Professor, did all this week's notes without even telling them, because I stayed off my phone as far as texting and looking at stuff. I've been very limited what I'm doing. And I caught the notes, and I was very, very appreciative of that, and I appreciate you doing them. And you said, I think I don't know if we're wrestling with turkeys or it's going to be Thanksgiving and wrestling, but either way, I know you got something you want to start off with, and then we'll go from there. We're kind of doing our Thanksgiving Thunder Tour here a couple of days after Thanksgiving, which I was very blessed to have a nice Thanksgiving meal. I hope you were as well, Professor. Mm-hmm. I hope our listeners had a nice Thanksgiving. And, man, it's just a matter of time now. We'll be saying Happy New Year before you know it.
It's right around the corner.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever shared this story. Bobby, going into 2020, so, 2019 was a horrible fucking year for me. Heart attack, divorce, just all this shit. And going into 2020, I spent the night in Monterey with a young lady on New Year's Eve. Had a great night. Did things in a hotel that you do in a hotel. So, watching watching HBO, getting room service, right?
Right.
Wake up January 1st, watch a little more HBO, get a little more room service, head out in the hallway. It's about 6, 7 a.m. I hear everybody else in the whole place is getting room service and watching HBO as well. And I'm thinking to myself, fuck, 2020 is gonna be a great fucking year. Everybody's already getting laid and it's just barely started. And then fucking March rolled around, man. And it seems like we've been just treading water ever since,
Yeah. Well, as you know, I made it to January 10th. Mm-hmm. I started getting ill around the 5th, and each evening, my throat just kept getting closer and closer and closer to collapsing. And I just was like, what the fuck? I'll be okay. And I'd try to eat my dinner and drink a couple beers or whatever. And I was like, fuck, something's going on, man. So I remember it was Friday, January 10th. Maybe the 9th, I'm not sure. I went to the hospital, and I spent the next 5 or 6 days in the hospital starting off 2020. So right as I got out and started getting back to my exercise, I was right back to walking up to a mile where I had been way past that on my regimen. And, man, I'll be damned. It was Friday to March 13th. I do know that. They shut down the parks that I used to walk out, and then the following week, the gyms were shut down. Everything was shut down. And I think everyone must have fucking stayed in and watched Tiger King and ate Twinkies or something and fucking didn't know what the hell was going to happen with the world.
Yeah.
So, but we're past that now. So now we're leaning, we're almost, like you said, almost to 2022. Let's just finish this year out strong and see what happens. How's that?
Yeah, but now there's this other variant that's getting ready to kick off.
Oh, God.
Yeah, all because nobody fucking thought, hey, those really poor countries in the world, maybe we should help them get vaccines. Nobody stopped to do that, so now we got one coming out of Africa. But anyhow, that's enough bitching and complaining from me for one day. Let me bitch and complain about something else.
That's what I was going to say. You want to start bitching and complaining about something else.
Yeah.
And before you say this, go on to, fans listen, go on to YouTube. It's one of the few times we agreed we weren't going to shit on other people and other people's products. And we've done a very good job at that on this podcast. But one day we got going, and Jeremy just started talking about how the WWE hates wrestling. And he went on a tangent, man. He went on an ass-ripping tear that tore me and Tex all up. I just agreed. I said, hey, man, I'm not discouraged. You're buying the products, watching the show, whatever. Tex put it up in video form. It's out there on YouTube if you can find it. I think it's called WWE Hates Wrestling. And it's one of the better bits, man. Not that we don't have some really classic ones out there, but for one that wasn't even thought up, a spur of the moment, boom, Jeremy just lit into him for some godforsaken reason. So if you can find that, go to YouTube. I'll try to pull it up after we get off the podcast and post it on my Twitter feed. But go ahead, Jeremy. What do you got for me here? You bought some stock.
Well, I did for a couple days. I bought some WWE. I bought 2 shares of WWE a few weeks ago. And somebody reminded me the next day. They said, hey, Jeremy, don't you remember you saying you would never do a goddamn thing to put money in their pockets? And I was like, oh yeah. So I went and sold that stock. But in the process of selling that stock, because I'm convinced now that they're trying to sell, by the way. But in the process of selling that stock, I stopped and read their description, like their actual like financial description, right? So I'm just gonna peruse through this real quick, and we're gonna play a little game. And you're gonna tell me what word is missing from the not the name, but from the description of this company, okay? World Wrestling Entertainment, Inc. engages in the development, production, and marketing of television and pay-per-view event programming and live events, and the licensing and sale of consumer products featuring its brands. It operates through the following business segments: digital media, live events, consumer products. The digital media segment revenues consist principally of subscriptions to the WWE Network, fees for viewing its pay-per-view, and video on-demand programming. Advertising fees. The live event segment's revenues consist principally of ticket sales and travel packages for live events. The consumer products segment revenues consist principally of royalties or license fees related to various WWE-themed products such as video games, toys, and apparel. The company was founded by Vince and Gay McMahon, blah, 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 Stamford, Connecticut, yada, yada, yada. Going off of all that, Bobby, if you didn't know the name of the company, what did I just describe?
Man. Well, if I just knew it was WWE, I was just thinking you're doing because I know what word's missing. I just would think one thing, entertainment company of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't you could put World Entertainment Inc. out there at this point, because that's pretty much what they're saying.
Yep, they did everything.
The We dot Inc. There you would have to use the other W, because obviously they only used it in the one time top of the title.
Yep, because they do everything they can to avoid saying wrestling.
Yeah.
Proving once again they hate wrestling. They go out of their way to not say anything about it. And just say like, oh yeah, we do events, television, and marketing, and gotcha. Consumer products,
themed products such as video games, toys, and appeal. In fact, that could be Saturday morning cartoons. Mattel making
G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe. That's coming to mind. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So there you go. So what word's missing, of course, is wrestling. At least they didn't put,
oh, Lordy.
That I can tell, the word. All right, cow dog, you know it's coming. I'm going to hop to you and spit in a second.
Boy, she didn't like that, did she?
No, she didn't. I don't know if I should say it now. But, okay, they got the World Entertainment in there. At least they didn't put sports behind it,
Yeah.
So.
Yes, I read that. I read that as I was selling the stock, and and they lost their ass over the next 2 weeks, so I was fine. But I'm still kind of convinced they're getting ready for a sell. But even if they're not, what's going on that just makes my WWE hates wrestling rant even more on the nose. It's because they're promoting themselves and not the talent.
Exactly.
They think you will come to see the WWE logo and not your favorite wrestler. I'm sorry, not your favorite superstars and their title opportunities at their sports entertainment venue.
Yeah. That's very well said.
Yeah.
Very well said, yeah.
You should have seen me throwing around the air quotes over here, too. But what it is they're banking on their initials are going to get their initials are going to put the asses in the seats every 18 inches is what they're thinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if you've got the talent as a wrestler, as an entertainer, or as a performer, that might be the place you want to seek employment at one day. Because I'm sure the money is very, very lucrative. But luckily, I think A&E, some other companies, I think Ring of Honor will be back. I think the NWA still has a fighting chance because I want to believe in wrestling. I want to think that Impact still has a small impact somewhere, but they've got a following. And I see some independents, that's trying to run consistently again. I would just like to see it for the people that have the talent or athleticism, or just the chops to do it, man, to make it, make that as their living. So I won't shit on it as hard as you did. How's that? But I agree, man. And if you got a chance to go to a live event and wrestling's your kick, man, then go to a live event because they really are. The house shows, to me, that it's a really good. They do put on a very good event. It's a first class organization. When you step into the arena and you know what you're buying your ticket for, I have to say, and it's been a couple years now since I've been to one of their shows, but and I've went through the back the last couple of times only because I had be fortunate enough to have a connection here or there. Someone slid me a ticket, and they treat you first class. I see them, the talent and stuff in the back and the layout, and once they start the show, you're just at an event. Honestly, to me, it doesn't feel like you're at a wrestling event. It feels like you're at an entertainment event, Jeremy.
Yeah.
A
TV show.
Good experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So I have no qualms about it. If I go, I'm going to enjoy it because I'm going to watch the in-ring product, and that's what I'm there for, And if I happen to know someone or see someone I've met or known through the years, I obviously want to see them, or I'm glad to see them still doing good, or someone up and coming, getting that break they needed. So
yeah,
that's just me encouraging the boys and the gals to keep at it, man.
Oh, no. You know what? Keep at it. Fans, those of us who aren't in the business but are fans of it, remember that you can go see your favorite wrestlers at indie shows just as easily as you can at a WWE show. Yeah. The production value won't be there. I can guarantee you that. But you'll see guys busting their ass. And it's kind of like, like Jock was it Jock or somebody else was saying that a guy like John Morrison can't really work in a 15-foot ring,
Yeah.
There's gonna be some stuff. There's gonna be some growing pains and different things, but yeah, go check out an indie show too,
Yeah.
Go help the local community, Bobby, we are gonna do a little, Thanksgiving this week. With this time of year, we start getting busy and you've got doctors things coming up. So we're not going to be able to put as much research into, say, like our pre-NWA series. But we still have fun, and that's the important part.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, Bobby, I want to talk to you before we get into something here. What were your experiences working as a pro wrestler on Thanksgiving, say like at Smoky Mountain?
Oh, man. I think I did 3 Thanksgiving Thunder tours while I was there from 93 through 96. I'm the 96 one, I'm not sure if I was on all 3 days or not, because it was shutting down during that time. But yeah, 93, 94, 95, man, those Thanksgiving Thunder tours were great. Of course, our main towns were Knoxville, Tennessee, Johnson City, Tennessee. We had Morristown, Tennessee. And we had a couple of smaller towns, Barbersville, Kentucky, and Hazard, Kentucky. But you would not believe the wrestling fans. Now, we had Pikeville, Kentucky, as well, as a really good town, but we always ran that. We didn't run Thanksgiving Thunder there, to my knowledge, but we ran Hillbilly Days and stuff like that there. But for the Thanksgiving Thunder tours, we always had either Hazard or Barbersville back-to-back with Knoxville, Johnson City, and then probably Morristown. And, it's a good 4-day run. We do a start on Thursday night. You eat your big Thanksgiving dinner. If you got to town the day before, you just hung out with one of the guys that had to travel with you or whatever. But I was lucky enough, if we started off in Hazard or Knoxville, I could eat here and still be at the show in plenty of time, and didn't just get a hotel for, Friday night, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And it was an awesome time because the fans, it's tradition up in this area that, the busiest night in professional wrestling, one of the two is Christmas Day and then Thanksgiving night. Mm-hmm. Those are usually two really, really big days. The first one, I wrestled Chris Candido, and that was, that's very, very special. Because one, I was with Smoky Mountain and had a job in the wrestling business I'd been trying to do, and also, get to work with a talented guy like Chris. And we had a tar and feathered match. It was pretty cool. And the show was packed with talent. Regular crews, and Jimmy brought different people in to work on those shows as well. The other Thanksgiving experience I had, believe it or not, I don't know what year it was, but it might have been 2000, because I did WCW. We did Thanksgiving week. We always did the pay-per-view on that Sunday, World War III from the Palace in Detroit. So you'd go up there and you'd work on that Sunday, then do a Monday Nitro, a Tuesday TV, and fly home on a Wednesday before Thanksgiving. So that's always pretty nice, because they had at that time slowed down their house shows quite a bit, But the one I was going to talk about, I was in Japan, and obviously they don't celebrate Thanksgiving. But I was on a bus with Pararusso, Russian dog. Joe Kimball was the guy's name. I don't know if Chad Collier may have been on that tour with me or not, but he may have been. 3 Americans. I usually had 2 or 3 Americans, 2 or 3 Mexicans, and then the rest of the regular Japanese crew. And I was going to say, man, they took us out and had a special dinner. You always had a sponsor there or this or that from town to town, or the owner, Sasuke or someone take you out. And they didn't put together any special like, oh, here's the turkey we had flown in for you, nothing like that. But they took us to dinner and said, thanks for being here on our show with our crew. We know you're missing your family, your home life, or whatever that you study. I keep wanting to say study, that you celebrate.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it happened in 2000. I was over there. I'm almost positive it was 99 or 2000. And I thought that was pretty cool, man. That they, because a lot of Japanese guys had been either to Mexico, to Canada, or to U.S. when they break in there to get experience.
Sure.
And, it was just really cool that they took the time to, it wasn't a big celebration, not a lot of prayers and hoopla, none of that stuff. But they knew the American culture that we celebrated Thanksgiving, and they always took us out to dinner on that night if you were there at that time of year. I thought that's pretty classy. Classy, that's the word I was looking at.
Yeah, there you go.
So, our friends up north in Canada, they celebrate theirs, I think, late September, early October.
First Monday in October.
Okay, I knew it somewhere because I was up there for EA Sports, and they had a hell of a layout for us when I was doing that EA Sports game. It was. I knew I was up there in late September, and I stayed up about 30 days. So the first week in October, they had a nice feast for us for EA Sports. That's pretty cool. Of course, that was their celebration of Thanksgiving. Theirs,
Yeah.
Kind enough to invite the 4 of us to their set, their setup and stuff for the meal. Pretty cool deal. But yes, that's just some of my experiences for Thanksgiving, man. Not a lot of bad memories. Just travel. That's what you got to do, though. That's what you signed up for.
Yeah. Well, that's
get up that day and head to town.
Yeah, that's the job, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So now your experience with Thanksgiving, because you're there in Kentucky, but you spend some time in Maryland and other places. Did you guys all eat dinner like early on Thanksgiving Day?
Yes, that's our thing. We always ate about 12 or 1. That's what most people ate here.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you had the evening free to go out to the wrestling matches.
Yeah, that was so when I was a kid, I always wondered why that was. And apparently it's a thing from the South and the Midwest, and it's a farming thing. Yep. And it just, everybody here is from Oklahoma and Arkansas, and it just kind of kept in place. So anyhow, I did a little bit of quick research on Thanksgiving and pro wrestling, and here is what our friend Dave Meltzer has to say about it. Okay.
Let's start here.
Yep. So we're gonna dive right in. This is the first show he could find that happened on Thanksgiving, and there's probably more, but this is the one he could find like actual evidence of. November 26, 1959, when Barnett promoted a show at the Indianapolis State Fairgrounds Coliseum, headlined by Roy Shire and Ray Shire, who is Ray Stevens, defending the NWA World Tag Team titles against Dick the Bruiser and Yukon Eric, drawing a sellout of 13,000 fans. This was when the Shire brothers were on fire as World Tag Team champs, and they drew 3 crowds of that size on a 5-week period against Bruiser and a partner. This is what established Thanksgiving as a special day to draw. I found some other things that try to say it was Jim Crockett Sr. I mean, there's probably some evidence that it goes back earlier than this and was a thing for a while.
Yeah.
But, they kind of jump in on, Jim Crockett Sr. started it, and so Jim Crockett Jr. kept with it. And then Vince McMahon, as every wrestling story goes, Vince McMahon ruined it for everybody. But I did just kind of go grab a smattering of different shows that happened on Thanksgiving. Yeah. And I'm going to start with Mid-South in 1980.
Yeah. All right. Superdome Extravaganza is what you came up with.
Yep. In New Orleans, Superdome drawing 18,000 people. First match, Coco Samoa beats Mike Miller. Second match, Jimmy Garvin beats Terry Latham. Third match, Ray Candy and Wahoo McDaniel beat the Turk and Mexican Angel. Fourth match, Mid-South Louisiana champ Jake Roberts beat Paul Ellering. That must have been something to see in the day. Yeah. Fifth match, Ted DiBiase beats the Super Destroyer. Number 6, Dusty Rhodes beats Ivan Koloff. Number 7, Junkyard Dog and Bill Watts beat Ernie Ladd and Leroy Brown. Number 8, the Mid-South North American champ, the Grappler, beats Killer Carl Cox. And number 9, Ernie Ladd beats Paul Orndorff in a lights-out match. Well, Ernie Ladd was getting around that night, huh?
Yeah, looks like it. Looks like he had to go up here. I guess Leroy Brown must have done the job in the 7th match, I would imagine.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
Junkyard Dog and Watt.
Yeah.
Beat Ladd and Brown. So,
because I don't see Ernie Ladd losing. Yeah, I don't see Ernie Ladd taking a pin there and then going on to face Orndorff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. That's what I was looking at. Looks like there's been just one DQ in a match. Then you got your 6-minute match, 7-minute match, 13-minute match, 15 straight through. This is a good card, man. At that time, look there, Dusty and Ivan over there.
Yeah.
Again, this goes back to 80, and those guys are drawing, wherever they went, man. You said they drew 18,000 people. It's an $80,000 house. Pretty damn good, man.
Oh, yeah. Well, look, when Bill Watts...
Which of these matches we want to go to.
Shit. When Bill Watts was on, he was on, When he was doing his thing his way and it was working, you can get a sense of it. Then we're going to go ahead and go to 81. We're not doing this in particular orders, or we're not going to.
Right.
1981, also in New Orleans at the Superdome, also drawing 18,000 people. So sold out houses 2 years in a row. Terry Orndorff beats Don Serrano. Jerry Novak beats Tony Charles. Ed Wiskowski beats Jimmy Garvin. Frank Monty and Barbie Doll beat Ricky Ferrara and Diamond Lil. Mixed tag team action there, people. Mm-hmm. The Iron Sheik beats King Cobra. Ernie Ladd beat Kerry Von Erich via countout. Dusty Rhodes beats the Great Kabuki. That must have been a fucking barn burner right there.
Yeah.
Mid-South North American champ Ted DiBiase versus Bob Roop. Hey, Bob Roop, we know that name. Number 9,
went 23 minutes.
Yeah, that's a full match right there. Mid-South Tag Champs, Junkyard Dog and Mike George beat Paul Orndorff and Bob Orton. 46 minutes.
40, yeah. Yeah, that's why I jumped down there real quick when I saw that. That's why I threw in a 43-minute. For your semi-main event, you had a 23-minute match, rather, and then a 46-minute main event match. And I tell you, that's a hell of a tag team, Orndorff and Orton.
Yeah.
Holy shit, man. And I can see that being a really, really good match for the main event. I have to say, Dusty and Kabuki has my attention. Ernie and Kerry, of course, would have my attention. Shiki, either way on that one. But I'm going to have to go with, I think I'd take this first card, Jeremy, on the 1980 card. I think I'd rather see that card there with DiBiase against the Super Destroyer, Dusty and Ivan, and Junkyard Dog and Watts with Ernie and Leroy. But then I'd like to see Killer Carl Cox work. I always liked his work. I imagine Glenn Denton as the grappler there, but also that main event of that one, Ernie Ladd and Paul Orndorff. I think I'd rather see that show than the second one. What's your opinion of that?
I am with you all the way on that until I read the Dusty Rhodes against the Great Kabuki, and there's a part of me that's
I got you.
I if we could put that match, with that first card, I'm all in, because that's the one that I'm just like, holy shit, that sounds like a killer right there.
So dream booking here, you could take in that first match. I'm wondering if you could, I'm just trying to throw us around here. If you took Ivan Koloff and put him in a singles with Wahoo, since they was on the same show, and move up, if you had Dusty, like you said, with Kabuki, if he'd have been booked, and moved Ray Candy down there. That's just fantasy booking.
Sure.
Move Ray Candy to his match down there with Leroy Brown. Had them team against JYD and Bill Watts. But that's just one way you could do it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To keep everyone on both cards. But Kabuki and Rhodes there. Okay. But you also can look at this too, and look at all these right angles end up being out there. There's Wahoo, Roberts, Dusty, JYD, Ernie. I mean, all these guys that come through. Iron Sheik, Kabuki, like you said, DiBiase, and Orton and Orndorff. Man, what some talent, man, for 2 years running through.
Oh, yeah, that's huge.
Coming in and out there. That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge set of shows right there. You know what? We're going to, Bobby, give me 1 second. I got to deal with this dog somehow. She's getting out of control.
I got something I'll talk about while you're talking to the dog.
Sounds good. Be right back.
All right, hey, if you're listening to the program, we're sure you're a wrestling fan, and we appreciate you tuning into the podcast. I want to thank my podcast partner, Jeremy, the Professor Vilmur. He had to do this week's notes all of his own. And like I said, mentioned earlier, I had a little bit of eye problems. They are being taken care of. I've got drops and doing all right. So with that mentioned, you need your eyes to read or your ears to hear. I don't think my books are on audio yet, but guess what? They're coming at some point. Mentioning books, I've got 2 books. Let's go with the first one. Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel. That's my first book. If you go to tinyurl.com/blazebook1, that's a quick and easy link. It'll take you right to the Amazon link, and you can get the book right there. And this program gets a little bit of a kickback on that. And folks, it is a little bit, but every little penny helps when you're trying to do a grassroots podcast like we're doing. Again, it's tinyurl.com/blazebook1. That'll take you to Pin Me, Pay Me, Have Boots Will Travel. My second book called I kicked out on 2, The Education of a Wrestler. Again, to go right direct link to Amazon, just go to tinyurl.com/blazebook2. So you can do that, and you can download either or you can get those in print edition. And that's the way this program does get a little bit of kickback if you order yourself a print edition. Also, if you order a print edition and you run into me down the road somewhere, bring it up to me, and I'll be more than glad to autograph it for you. Free of charge, of course. You never know where you'll see me at. Anyway, there are some other books on my Amazon link. One's an adult-themed book, XXX romance-type book, just getting that genre out there. I've got a really cool little short story about Christmas, Seasons F and Greetings, my best Christmas ever. Now would be a good time to read that. Now we're heading to the holiday season. And that's just a little $2.99 download. And also there's another book, Yard Time, but that is contained inside of I Kicked Out on Two Educational Wrestler. So you can get that easy as a download and see what my writing style is like if you just want a little short story, and then I encourage you to go ahead and purchase the book, of course. But again, just visit those on Amazon. Pin Me, Pay Me, have booths with travel. tinyurl.com/blazebook1, or I Kicked Out on Two Education Wrestler. tinyurl.com/blazebook2, and I hope the professor's back by now.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is.
How's Cow Dog doing?
Oh, I should have run over to the store real quick and picked up a couple more treats for her. I didn't realize we were almost out of it. All of her time wasting, like peanut butter and shit that I give her to keep her quiet during the show. But I can do that afterwards. So anyhow, yes, buy the book. You know what, guys? Don't download the sample. Just buy the books and don't be a bunch of cheapskates.
I was being nice about it.
Yeah. Don't be a bunch of cheapskates. Just buy the books.
Yeah. If you want the interaction on with us, you can find me. I'm on Twitter only. I may come back to Instagram. I'm just thinking about it, just saying. And I'm at Bobby Blaze 744 on both. My Instagram account is just inactive right now. You can still go visit and see some cool pictures, but I stay real active on my Twitter account. Just tip me up there, send me a DM, put some questions out there. I don't know what the hell is going on in my neighborhood. I think someone started up a tractor or something, it sounds like. I don't know. Anyway, you can find Jeremy at the Geekish Cast, and you can go to our joint account at Bell to Bell Blaze on Twitter and on Facebook and visit us there. I've got some really nice messages that Jeremy passed along to me today from our Facebook, from a couple cousins of mine, and also a young lady that I used to know. She rang in and said, hey, and I said, hey, right back to her, didn't I, Jeremy?
Yes, you did.
But anyway, hope to hear from her. And anyway, hit me up, though, on Twitter at BobbyBlaze744. Hit Jeremy up at the Geekacast, or hit our joint account up at Bell to Bell Blaze. Send in your suggestions for program ideas. Ask us questions. We get some pretty cool stuff. Our fans out there, man, we get some direct message stuff that, old wrestling programs, just little things that's like, oh, I haven't seen that forever. Match links, all that stuff, man. While I'm plugging that, Jeremy might as well plug Southeast Rewind. Ron Welch Fuller's Have a Shot there. His program over on YouTube is doing pretty good. He's got close to 2,000 subscribers now, and I'm telling you, he's got some old Continental that goes right in sequence, and he's got the USA that goes right in sequence. And I just was on there the other day and saw a couple old friends when they was just in their rookie year, man. I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. But it's some good stuff to watch if you're like YouTube like I do, and like old school wrestling like I do.
Mm-hmm.
Give that a check it out sometimes and subscribe to his channel. Tell him Bobby and Jeremy sent you. He appreciate it very much. I know I would too. So that's off the plugs that I have, Jeremy.
Oh, well, that's a good one. Yeah, check out Ron Fuller's page. That is kind of cool because I don't know of any other place to get that content that he's sharing. I don't think anybody else really has it. It is a lot of this fucking dog. I'm going to kill her by the end of the show. I can tell already. But it's a lot of content that you're not going to see anywhere else. It's a lot of people. I mean, everybody that's in it. It's kind of this missing little piece of wrestling history from that period of time. You know?
It's good stuff, man.
Yeah, it is. It really is worth checking out. Let me go back to my notes here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to jump to Jim Crockett for a bit.
Yes.
And we're going to start in 1983 because this is really the big one here. StarrCade, 1983. Flair versus Race for Flair's second title win. It's the first time the NWA title changed hands in a steel cage.
Right on, man. Yeah. And that was on closed circuit TV. That's how he did that.
Yes, it
so
was.
Several places throughout the United States, you went to a local venue that ran the closed circuit in, and that's how you could see it if you didn't happen to be live at the show. Probably that Flair getting that second title as huge as it was, a lot of people take a lot from that StarrCade. It was an incredible show. I guess I would have heard about it in school the following week or read about it in the magazines the following week. Just the little clips they showed on the TV station at the time. But one takeaway, man, would be the Piper Valentine dog collar match. We've brought that up several times in this program. There's the main event right there.
I was going to say, do you think StarrCade 83 is more known for Flair race or more for the dog collar match? I'd say the dog collar match.
I was going to start off by saying dog collar match, honestly. That's, you can say, well, name title, Flair's title matches, and, obviously you could do it, 3 or 4 or 5, whatever, just saying, this particular show, I think, could be the dog collar match, Of course, what was the name of the show? Was a Flair for Gold, right?
A Flair for the Gold, yeah.
Yeah, Flair
for the Gold, sorry, yeah.
Flair for the Gold, okay.
Yeah.
The other match, and I've watched this, I won't say recently because to me, I could say recently, and that could be 6 months in my brain, or it could be a year. But I know it's cold out, so I'm going to say within about a year. Steamboat and Youngblood versus the Briscoes.
Yeah.
It's a really hell of a good match, man. I don't even know how long they go. But it's a hell of a good match from start to finish. Anybody out there wanting to study tag team wrestling or wants to see how a tag team works together or how a tag team match is put together, go watch that match, man. It's incredible. I'm pretty sure it's still up on YouTube, but it's a hell of a match, man. And if you think for 1 second, any of these matches that we just listed are going to be like, I'll just grab a headlock and slow down and taper off from there. No, these matches, they go, go, go. I mean, you got Valentine and Piper in there getting her ear ripped off, Steamboat Youngblood moving like well-oiled machines against two brothers that, wrestled, whole life against each other on a collegiate, all the way through collegiate to wrestling as a team to, making it all the way to the top of the business. And then, of course, two of the greatest champions of all time, Flair and Race. It's an incredible card, man. It's an incredible card. At this point, I'm taking that card over anything we said so far. But again, different time period, just by about 3 years here.
80 to 83. Yeah, that's it.
Yep.
I don't know. I didn't get any notes on 84, and I'm not sure why, if nothing just jumped out at me or.
Yeah.
But 85, 2 matches on the card stuck out to me.
Right.
Magnum versus Tully and Dusty versus Flair.
There you go, man. That's a hell of a card right there. Once again, now this 85, was that done? That's not pay-per-view yet, right? That's still a cable. Is that correct?
I believe
Closed
that was closed circuit. I know I saw it on
Okay.
VHS is where I saw it.
Yeah, myself as well. Again, give a big shout out to Magnum. He was on our podcast a couple weeks ago. Jeremy, you put that together very, very good from the Bluegrass Con. I know there's some noise in the background, but you cleaned it up really good. And I had a picture. I don't know if I've yet sent it to you. I did have a picture of Magnum while he was interviewing with you. And if I didn't, I'll send that to you after we get off the air. But yeah, him and Tully, that was a hell of a match. And then, of course, Dusty and Flair. StarrCade 85, man.
Yeah.
Whew.
This was a big show. Like I said, I remember seeing it. This, of course, ended with Dusty winning the title, but it got held up like the next episode of Saturday Night and was taken away. A move that even to this day typifies a Dusty booking convention. Let's see here. But Magnum versus Tully, this was the I Quit match, right? Let's see.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was the one with the wood in the eye, correct?
Yeah, one of the goriest, nastiest looking matches ever. Tully is in rare form, is just a bloodthirsty fucking psychopath in this match. It was closed circuit, by the way. Yeah, okay. Yeah, those were 2 just outstanding matches. Jump right. I mean, as I was just kind of like perusing things, that one just kicked me right in the face. I was like, oh yeah, we got to pull those 2 up. I'm going to jump now to 87. This was the first year of Survivor Series. And Vince McMahon actually used this as a way to force Crockett off of pay-per-view from then on. McMahon would go to the pay-per-view companies and say, you can either carry me on Thanksgiving or you can carry somebody else, but you're not getting both.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I heard an interesting take on that not too long ago. Jim Cornette explained that a few weeks back on his podcast about how there was that window of opportunity, like a 5-day window, that if he rented it, once per month, if he was going to rent that venue, no one else could rent that for a month. And what it was like just he did that to several places, and it wasn't that he was blocking everyone, but the way the calendar rolled. And this was around the Chicago days, so I think it's the Rosemont and the United Center or something like that. Go back and give it a listen. It's just a couple of weeks ago, but he gives a really much better what I'm doing around an explanation of that, how basically if you did decide to maybe run that same month, you'd only have like 5 days of prep time to do it, some kind of a turnaround there. So you might as well say, fuck it, we'll just go to the next city, and go somewhere else because they wasn't going to be able to draw at that same arena or same building, So, so Survivor Series 87, off the top of my head, Andre in that one?
Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to pull it up. I don't remember off the top of my head. I'm going to have to pull
it up if you don't mind. I wanted to see some. It seems like Andre was in that for some reason.
Yeah, I want to say it was. I want to say it was the Mega Powers versus the Mega Bucks, but let me double check.
Okay, that's what I'm coming to my mind. I'm seeing that VHS tape cover is what I'm looking at.
Yeah. Let's see here. What was the big match of the night?
Okay, you got Hogan, Bam Bam, Orndorff. I'm just trying to look.
Oh no, this was pre-Mega Powers. Look at these two teams. Yeah.
Yeah, I got you now. There is Andre. There he is.
Yep.
Andre's in the background with One Man Gang.
Bundy.
Yeah. Yep. And then over that's Morocco, Orndorff, Hogan, and Bam Bam, and Patera. And you got missing the city. Rick Rude. I can't see who's in the background there. Andre. It's Bundy. Okay, Andre, One Man Gang, and is that the Natural? Who is that?
Butch Reed. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just thought, yeah, it's Butch Reed, the Natural. What a fucking matchup, man, right there. So, yeah, I couldn't see my picture, kind of blurry, but, yeah, he's got that gimmick going with the headband and the blonde hair, the Natural.
Yeah.
So, hell yeah. I knew Andre, though. That's just come to mind. I remembered something about that cover of Andre just being over monstrous towards everyone.
Now, I have to imagine I actually saw that one live because around this time I was getting the WrestleManias, and then when Survivor Series started, I started getting those as well.
Cool.
So I had to have seen this one. It just doesn't really stand out to me. But I do remember early on that Survivor Series was a Thanksgiving night thing.
Okay. Richmond Coliseum in Ohio. That's right outside Cleveland, up in that area. So, trying to look at 21,300 people. It had been the biggest, biggest event. That's not out yet. Let's see here. Just trying to look here. Anything else that stands out there? Strike Force was there. Heart Foundation. Yeah. On commentary, Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura.
Yep. Yeah, they were a good team too until,
they were.
Until you had Bobby Heenan and Gorilla to look back on.
Right, of course, yeah. Good deal. Now, what was the next one we went to? You jump up to 1990 Survivor Series.
Yes, because
two big things come out. Go ahead.
And I'm sure anybody could tell us this, but in 1990, two premieres, Kane the Undertaker, which is a fact my brother loves to throw around, is that when the Undertaker first premiered, Kane was his name.
Yes.
But also the Gobbledygooker premiered that year, and we have not been able to let go of it ever since, to the point we've even been trying to turn it into an exclamatory statement we might make when somebody says something surprising to us on this show.
Good Gobbledygooker.
We just haven't been able to do it right yet.
Yeah. I was in Tampa that year, and I actually watched that. I was at Malenko's, and let me think. We didn't watch at his house, but we had several of the boys that stayed at different places. And I'm thinking, as for Phyllis and X-Pac, I think some of the people that didn't go home that lived in the Tampa area, we pitched in and got that and watched that. I want to say it was over to at one of the apartments that we, shacked up in, if you will.
Sure.
Kind of like a flop house deal. But yeah, we was all excited about it. I didn't come home. I knew I was coming home for Christmas of that year is why I didn't come home back to Kentucky from Tampa. It's only 1,500 miles. It's not like you can't turn it around in a day, but still, just saying that's one of the earlier pay-per-views I got to watch. So, pretty good deal, man.
Yeah.
Anything else on that on the other than those two things right there?
No, because you know what?
Recall?
Survivor Series was always one of those shows that I think we just got just because like it was habit, and I think there were only the two pay-per-views at this time still. I think there was WrestleMania and Survivor Series at this point.
Yeah, I think you're right.
We hadn't hit the monthly pay-per-view, peak pay-per-view as I would call it, where like in a few years there would be a monthly WCW show and a monthly WWF, and they were $70 each, and it just it got to be too much. No, we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump companies one more time. We're going to go down to Dallas here, okay?
Yes.
And we're going to talk about the Thanksgiving Star Wars event. And I just went and I pulled the main events from 83 to 87.
Yeah.
You ready for this now?
I like this, yes.
Yeah, 1983, Kerry Von Erich versus Michael Hayes in a loser leaves town steel cage match.
Man.
I bet the fucking audience was just crawling over themselves over that match right there. I can't even imagine the heat that the Von Erich Freebirds feud drew. I don't even know if anything. I don't know that anything since has gotten has gotten over as hard with the viewers as that did.
I agree, man.
Yeah.
My God, them guys were over.
Yeah. 1984, Gentleman Chris Adams versus Kevin Von Erich in a no DQ match. Now you worked with Chris Adams.
Yes, I did twice.
Yeah, and you were surprised to discover that he trained somebody that you'd heard of.
Yeah, well, going back, I actually had wrestled Kerry Von Erich as well.
Oh,
way
that's
back
right.
in about 90 when he was a Texas Tornado. But yeah, Chris Adams and myself, I flew into Dallas, and when I got there, Dallas is DFW is one of the biggest fucking airports you can just imagine.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, I'm sitting there with all the people, and it's Chris Adams, the gentleman Chris Adams. And I'd already wrestled him in Orlando, and so he actually had a tryout the night I did, and blah blah blah. And anyway, man, he was like, who you rooming with this week? And we had like a 3 or 4 day loop. I know we went to Corpus Christi. We went to Harrington down by South Padre Island, some of those shows. So I'm riding with Chris Adams nonetheless, and he's talking about his wrestling school, and I'm driving, and out there in the roads of Texas somewhere, long hair, just, going down the road. And he's talking about his wrestling school and how he's glad to be back and, getting a good gig again with WCW, and he had an idea he was going to do his judo thing and maybe work a program with him if he could just get this one little break over, because he knew Terry Taylor, so he'd worked with a lot of them guys before, but I guess he had some some little battles or whatever going on, and shit happens, so anyway, he's talking about his training school. He still had some money coming in from his training school on the days off, and I said, did you ever train anyone famous? And we're going down the highway, man, and I just feel like I'm looking down the highway, and I just feel fucking his eyes burning through the side of my head, and I'm like, fuck, my skull's melting over here.
Hold on, I love that, because that kind of sounds like you spit tobacco on a shoe without even looking him in the face. Just like,
yeah. So I'm just looking, and I'm like, I give it that 5 seconds, like there's a 5 second delay pause there or something. I'm like, this motherfucker is staring a hole through me. So I just turn my eyes and I turn my head and look straight at him. And he's got his hand up on the dashboard, just doing the little, like clicking his fingers on the dash. He goes, you ever heard a guy named Stone Cold Steve Austin? And I knew that. And I go, oh, God damn, man, yeah, I do. And he goes, yeah. He goes, as a matter of fact, he married my ex-wife. My kids live with them. I'm like, okay, man, don't get hot about it, but I'm like, I'm wanting to say it out loud, like, hey, don't get hot. I got it, but he says, oh, well, he's pretty cool to me. We're still, I can talk to my kids every night. And this is, 97, 98 when, Stone Cold really hitting fucking, $6 million per year, I think. Well, I think it's 98 when he first became the $6 million man, Steve Austin, But he had beaten Hogan by like $1 million that year in T-shirt sales or some kind of thing. But yeah, he just looked at me like, yeah, you ever heard of a guy named Stone Cold Steve Austin? I'm like, yeah, I have. But I have to say, man, Chris was always all right with me. Had a couple weird situations I won't go into, and I have to say I'm fortunate I come out on the other end of some of those situations. Nothing bad. It's just that some things that happened, man, is like, oh, okay. I'm glad I wasn't around when this happened,
Yeah.
So, but again, that's just travels and adventures out there on the highway in the world of professional wrestling. So, there's my Chris Adams story. And plus, I only had to take, hey, Mike Mills, I only had to take one super kick from him to know it's finished, We didn't have to have a fucking super kick party, Jeremy, because we both know we're not fucking selling any 47 fucking super kicks for anyone. And Cow Dog getting either.
Yeah, she's not a big fan of that repeated super kick thing.
So he had a hell of a super kick.
Yeah, something tells me Chris Adams is the guy, like at midnight, you're sitting in the bar and he goes, hey, I know a place. And you go, you know what, Chris, I'm going to bed. That's
well, that's kind of what happened. We got back to the room and he goes, and the car was in my name, the rental car. And I'm already like laying over there in bed. Hey, you want to go for a ride? And I was like, no, not really. I had TV on. I wasn't ready to crash or anything. And but he goes, you care if I borrow that car? And I was like, yeah, go ahead, man. And he took off. And, he worked that territory, so he knew shit was going on, man. Mm. And I knew probably best bet for me was not to leave that fucking hotel room.
We all know one guy like that where they're like, hey, I got an idea. And you're like, fuck off. I'm going to bed.
Yeah, I said that a couple of times during that trip. I was like, no, I'm staying right here. My ass is put.
Yep.
So, yeah.
Because there's always somebody.
Sure.
Yeah, there's always somebody at 2 a.m. that wants to drive to Reno because they still sell booze after 2,
No, thank you.
Yeah.
Oh, man, let's move on to 85. You got the dynamic duo of Chris Adams and the handsome half-breed Gino Hernandez versus Kerry and Kevin Von Erich in a steel cage match for the vacant WCCW American Tag Team Championships. Man, I bet that was a hell of a match right there.
That had to have been. Well, you got to that Dallas crowd, man, used to go shit crazy when those Von Erich boys were in the ring, and and every show was built around them and should have been,
Yeah.
But when you had Gino and Chris as a tag team against them, that was fucking. You could feel the heat coming off your television. So I can only imagine how hot that crowd was that night. Now
think about that. That's 1985, you had that show going on. You had StarrCade with Magnum and Tully, Flair and Dusty going on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, big year.
Big year, yeah. We didn't list the anyone else. I'm sure we talked about this off there a little bit. Excuse me. Probably an AWA show somewhere, probably a Memphis show during one of their regular towns. I think on a Thursday would have been Lexington, Kentucky. But I think those shows would have been just their regular shows. I don't think we've done enough research to find any extravagant shows on those dates.
Yeah, I could find AWA
New York
shows.
probably done something, but
yeah, Yeah, I could find AWA shows, but they were just, they were Vern shows. There was nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing super over. Hulk Hogan was gone, so there wasn't really the names that you were used to there,
Right.
Now, Memphis, I couldn't find shit on, so I'm guessing they just did their regular house shows or whatever on a Thursday.
I think they probably done their regular shows. They probably done, Nashville. The next night was Louisville, then Evansville, Indiana. And being the third Thursday of the month, that would make Lexington, if it wasn't a spot show, I would imagine they ran Rep Arena on that show. Friday, they would have headed back to probably a spot show and headed back towards Nashville, toward Memphis for the TV tapings on Saturday morning. So I would imagine they just done a regular loop,
Yeah.
starting off in Nashville to Memphis and going from there. And if they had anyone in, I don't recall during some of those shows,
Yep.
So.
Well, Bobby, I think we've
Yeah.
beat up Thanksgiving all we
Yes, we
can.
have.
I've got a super
Yes, we
rambunctious
have.
dog here who I'm going to choke the
Yeah.
shit out of in a minute. So let's go ahead and wrap up.
Let's wrap it up, man. Thanks everyone for tuning in. I hope everyone had a very nice Thanksgiving. We're getting ready to head into the Christmas season. I know some people, myself included at times, they don't get excited about Christmas, but I'm trying to keep my spirits up. And when I say take care of yourselves out there, please take care of yourself as well. And I'm gonna do that because I think we've had just a couple things so crazy the last couple of years, Jeremy, that we're going to just trying to finish out this 2021 and finish it out strong. And thank everyone for tuning in to the podcast. Please feel free to hit the like and share buttons. And if you'd like, leave us a review on Apple Podcast or on Spotify. Or wherever you're listening to us at, we'd appreciate it very much. And Professor, thanks again for doing this week's notes, so you can make them legible for me to read. And I had to increase the font size, and I appreciate all the research you've done for this. And thank you for everything. So we have a lot to be thankful for.
You got it. Well, Bobby, you need to take care of that Cadillac in your eyes, and so
Yeah, I think I'll give it an oil change later.
Exactly. Everybody else, thank you for listening. We do appreciate it. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. There's your doorbell. So let's call it quits for myself and Tex and Bobby. Happy Turkey Day. Bye-bye, everybody. All right.
So no idea who this is, but here's you coming to the show in Charleston tonight. Who the fuck's in New York there? I don't know what show it is. I don't know if it's a WWE show. I think they are coming to town.
Who's that? The WWE?
Yeah. Let me see if they're in town tonight.